your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us, so much. I said they lie. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will knock the phone. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to beat? See, we just tell you that's why we voted you. But you screw us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us.
Clappy ENT, baby. Kicking it out. To my baby. Working it out.
We get soccer, we get dresser, we get Scooby-Doo. We get Casabonne like Jackie Foam. We get Palopo, we get Slick when we get BBQ. If you say you grown up, I say I grown up too. For anything like open while I flag and die inside. So Jebby there, you Jebby talking plenty. If you feel you're not enough, then you want photocopy. Boy, you and your grown up man, it can make me scary. Lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you more than me, then lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you too much chronic, lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you more than me, then lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you too much chronic, lying for ya. When Grona Messi, Grona make it hard. Look at Johnny Pikin, one can issue on my fly. You tell us some of back into my massa. Let them know they real casa on the block. Because you can to go, you will see them all around you just to eat your suso. You see just like Camo play, you just like Lulu. Even if your phone not on, they blowing fire for you. Kawa, I'm making you so lazy. I love live my life, and get no Oma and Papi. For anything like open while I flag and die inside. So Jebby there, you Jebby talking plenty. If you feel you're not enough, then you want photocopy. Boy, you and your grown up man, it can make me scary. Lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you more than me, then lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you too much chronic, lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you more than me, then lying for ya, but lying for ya. If you feel you too much chronic, lying for ya. See your body since I see you.
Working it out.
Hands full over on that side, and I dare say we'll be looking for a bit of support from his teammates as well. Yeah, so when you've got two outstanding teams, and of course you always got...
No, I got the lawyer of television. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say welcome to the Ball Idea. My name is Jamal. Tonight we're going to have a special guest tonight. Well, welcome one of my good old friends who's been away for a very, very long time. Garzeawu is here with tonight, going to be taking the driver's seat. And tonight we'll be bringing a very interesting character to talk to you about media, politics, and about Liberia as well. Mr. Dollar, you also is in tonight. We have other colleagues who will be joining us tonight on the show. Welcome, Augustus Tommy. How are you today, Augustus God Tommy? Live from the seat of Germany. Tell us where you are and where you coming, where you talking to us from at the moment.
Oh, the legendary Jamal Kamara and the general himself, Omer Dolly. Let me say a pleasant good evening. Thank you so much, Jamal. It's a pleasure to join this unique platform once again. I'm joining from Pioneer a region in Germany, precisely under the Braunschweig, the city of Braunschweig. So that's where I'm joining tonight from. And I mean, having been away for a while, it's nice being back. It's nice giving back also to our country, Liberia, by analytic discussions and diving into, our unique history, giving information, bringing entertainment as well through the Bottom Line Liberia online radio, as well as marketing and advertising for public consumption. So if you are a business person out there, you can now advertise your businesses, your goods, your merchandise with the Bottom Line Liberia. Is the best place to do your transaction. So it's nice being back, Jamal. Thank you, and Happy New Year as well to all of you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having you back as well. I'm always glad to have you here. Welcome, Mr. Dolly. Welcome to the Borderline tonight. How are you, sir, from the city of Manchester?
Oh, thank you very much, gentlemen. Augustine, long time no see. Since last year, I just hear your voice.
I know.
So, anyway, welcome to the Borderline again. The Borderline is a open door platform to everybody, and our motto is to see the truth. Whatever we see here, that's what we say. We don't fabricate story. So we make sure that we see the truth, and whether you like it or not, that's your business. But we don't mind seeing whatever we see that actually relevant to the Liberian people. So welcome to Borderline, and our topic tonight will be very civil, and we'll get to the turning issue that confronting our country. Thank you very much. I'm so happy tonight. Senegal beat Egypt.
Oh, come on. We are not interested. I want to discuss Liberian football right now.
I'm more than happy to see that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Dollar. We will discuss football later. Guys, tell us who will bring in tonight. We got a special guest tonight. I think in the studio already, and I'll tell her who he is, and I will bring a little bit of him, and he will talk much about himself.
So thank you, Jamal. And tonight on the Bottom Line and Bottom Line discussion and our online radio, we're having here Sir Moses K. Garzeawu, a professional Liberian journalist who have also worked with his professionalism at the level of the BBC, the British Broadcasting System, and he is actually a unique fellow in the journalism sector in Liberia and a professional for that matter. So we will be having Mr. Garzeawu here tonight. We will be talking in bits and pieces, a little bit of him, a little bit of few of his journals with the BBC, his storylines with the BBC, Liberian politics, development as well that he also has written about Liberia, and that has gone global. And we will also talk about his personality as well as a journalist. How did it evolve and develop, to where he is currently? Those are things we will look at. And on the flip side of things, we will also be looking at our dailies from Liberia, what it has in stock for us. We're also going to be looking at the National County meets, and we will also be going into the ongoing AFCON tournament. How has our West African teams performed, the North African side, Central Africa, South Africa as well? What has been their performances, and what do we look up from some of the young players, from the likes of a few players from Cameroon who people are discussing daily? And those are things we're going to be looking at here at the Bottom Line, Jamal.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. That's a nice breakdown there. You got it from Augustus got 2 minutes live from the city of Germany. I don't know which city he's from, one of the big cities there. Gus is one of our students in Germany. He's also one of our key journalists. I mean, we're doing very well with the Berlin for the year since we came on. Now, good to have you back. Gus, before we bring in our guest, tell me a little bit about being a journalist outside as a Liberian journalist, and if you were in our positions and you have to report Liberian story, and we have now for the past years, Liberian journalists, stories in Liberia have been unfolding other issues in life. How will you find it enjoying reading stories that like put yourself in a situation like Moses? What will you be? What will you feel like? I mean, is it good to talk about a country? Because Liberia now been through anything good so far since the last time after the elections, we progress so far has been very slow. Things have been going after 100 and some more, some more years as a country. Things have been going good. And you being a journalist in that position, what will you feel to report about a country of such?
Well, Jamal, journalism is a broad field and it is quite unique in its own form and nature, you know. And there are people who are investigative journalists. There are people who are storytellers. There are people who are reporters, you know, and there are writers. And like, I want to give credit to Moses. His work has been good. I also want to give credit to another young fellow, James Harding Garzeawu. James Harding Garzeawu seems to be just one of the journalists in Liberia. Currently, I think he runs his own newspaper, and who has been writing, you know, putting Liberia. He works with writers. He's written for so many other institutions, you know, networks. And he is more focused on the ecotourism. He is more focused on the area of the environment. Example, like the question you're asking me, there haven't been much journalists writing about environmental issues in Liberia. And Mr. Garzeawu is one person putting it out there and, you know, and making people to understand that, okay, in Liberia, we have this sector is being affected, but this sector is having growth and investor can explore, you know, the tourism industry can take advantage of it. So, but being outside in the individual perspective, it is some level of prestige for you because it earn you some better money than working back home where our people are not paid for the professionalism, you know. And other than that, it is the uniqueness of writing the stories is what I want to look at. Example, Moses got writings on President George Weah up to the time he was president, former President George Weah, up to the time he was president, issue of his soccer involvement, you know. And when you are outside and you don't have the time or the means to often, you know, go through the dailies in Liberia, when you come across writing from people like Moses and other good journalists, it gives you a new sense, you know, of the ambience that is within the country while you are still far from home, or away from home. So it's not only about telling a bad story, you know, but it's about also picturing the reality. Example, when genocides were happening in Liberia, we highly had a Liberian, you know, journalist given all of the things happening. There were foreign journalists more doing those things. But unlike up to the late 80s and in the 90s when the war was a little bit subsided, then you have more journalists going into investigating the war, making sure that the story is out there and analyzing it in a broader perspective that gain global recognition, that people could understand that, okay, this part of the war is actually atrocities, this part of the war is for freedom, and information started to come. So those are bits and pieces that I can put it into as a journalist also working outside. I feel you have better means of, you know, the tools and the instrument to work with, the infrastructure to work with, than the journalists back home. Those are also advantages for you that you have. And you can also view and analyze the real happenings from a different point of view. And that is why often people analyze our dailies to only have a better caption than a real stories, than real stories.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, as you said, having said that, we want to take this time. When did you bring in our guest, God, to let you bring in, invite him, so we let the conversation start. So if you just joined us, this is the Born Liberia, live from the mainland Europe. We're coming to you from mainland Europe, being around for the past 4 and 5 years. We'll bring you stories from Liberia, also across the globe. We discuss Liberia and also we discuss issues around the world, more especially Africa as well. So always share the show as we join our colleague right now, who will be joining us at I know Linford will be joining us as well tonight, and the good friend of King Charles, that's Paul Lord Children, will be joining us as well. I think Francis Mesa may be joining us tonight as well. But in the meantime, let's welcome our guest, Moses Colley.
Jimmy, can I ask Augustine one single question, please?
Yeah, let's roll our guest, then we ask him later on. He's not a guest here, he's a panelist. So let's bring the guest name, Sadole.
Okay, all right, fair enough, no problem.
Well, hello, sir. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ball, Mr. Garzeawu.
Hey, Jamal. Garzeawu, yeah. It's Garzeawu.
Moses.
Good evening, gentlemen. And it's a pleasure being here. But Augusta, they drew me here. I like to be in the background most often.
All right.
Yeah. So I think it's an honor for me. I had to be running from where I was to come back and try to do this show. It's almost 9 p.m. here in Monrovia. So, well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. So I want to ask my colleague to welcome Moses. Moses, we want to ask Mr. Dollar. Mr. Dollar, you have our guest, Mr. Garzeawu is in tonight. So I'll give you the chance to get in the first shot. Easy. Let's have a conversation. Is that all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome our guest, and let's have a conversation rolling.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Moses, glad to see you tonight. I've been heard about you, and I saw some of the story of you in Liberia. So I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you very much. Are you the BBC correspondent in our country, Liberia, isn't it?
As of January 5, I ceased being that. So I relatively hung my boots on a microphone January 5 from the BBC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the reason why I'm asking you this question, I just want to know if the journalists are really protected in Liberia.
Well, if you look at the global demographic of violence against people in the media, or probably the protection of the press, there were pockets of violations that happens, but not as compared to others in other countries where journalists are jailed, where journalists are killed. Yes, even just last year, I was also involved in a scuffle with a police officer. A few years ago, I was engulfed with an issue with the former deputy head of the EPS. I've had pockets of that. Same as some journalists, I've had some pockets of issues. Recently, the information minister has some issues with a journalist who is believed to have not relatively been granted to do an interview. So there are pockets of violations, but in terms of safety, I think somehow the media community is safe. We haven't heard of journalists being tortured, killed, jailed, or whatever it is. In fact, we have the Abdullah Kamara Act that prohibits a journalist from being prosecuted for the work they do. So safety issues, they're there. But I know there is nowhere that is safe for even the humankind. So there will always be some safety issues to be cautious of. So as a professional person, you should know your call-off point. Is a cliche that says no news is worth dying for. Everything is not safe. You must also understand that you got boundaries, even when you're seeking FYs. There were guidelines that said there were issues that borders on national security, and besides that, it also makes you a citizen of the country if you are to report and ruin the country's reputation at certain extent. When there are insecurity issues, you got families, you got brothers and sisters, it borders on you too. So whatever comes out, it reflects on the country. Whatever there are hardship, there are good things that come, it also come to you as an individual.
Thank you very much. My second question is, the reason why I asked you that question is because Vivek is witness the fight between you and some law enforcers in our country, and I would like to know what come up all of the activities between you and them, because I could see they were trying to collect your equipment from you and torture you in one way or other and stuff and things. So did you get any good result from that harassment from the police?
I mean, I've tried to avoid speaking on this issue, but it's good that you asked. I probably did not go to do journalistic work on that day. It was almost about this time last year when it happened. I had gone to do my morning exercises at the Summer Kind Sports Complex when I was making my way out. It just coincided with the day the quarterfinals of the county meet was getting on the way, and it was that early, around 9:30 in the morning. And as a journalist, also I also co-own a sports channel here called Intel Sports. So I have just gotten an access from P. Oxford Brown. He's the spokesperson for the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I was making my way out. I passed through a lot of security checkpoints, except so even the gentleman who did that, probably I can't judge, but maybe he was not in the right state of mind at that moment when investigations were done. But what I can say is the right kind of decisions were taken, and the apologies were forwarded. The good thing is there was no injury, there was no property damage at that point. So, yeah, I mean, we all Liberians, we all have families. So, it was just a caution to other security apparatus members that you must be able to treat people with respect, no matter who they are. Let's assume it was not Moses Garzeawu, that was another person. Obviously, there would have been any investigation or whatever, I would say. So the protection of human rights and safety is quite important. So I take that very seriously as a human rights reporter for over 2 decades. I understand that a lot. So that was my plea. I would have just walked away, whether what comes out, nothing comes out, or whatever. But my point was to make sure that there were some actions taken to be able to safeguard the next victim of whatever might happen. And I can say for the fight, even though there have been some police brutality, if you can clock, since that situation has been minimal at some point. So yeah, the right actions were taken. It's not something to divulge to the public at the moment. So I just keep it at that. Gotta be professional and live by the bargaining processes that went through.
Okay, thank you very much. So did you receive an apology from
Thank you, Mr. Dolly. Thank you, Mr. Dolly. We've got to get out a chance to go on. Mr. Dolly, can we hold you? Mr. Dolly, hello.
Yeah, I just want to
yeah, it's okay. We'll get out of the chat. Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
We'll have to talk about it later.
That's what I said. So that's what I said. That's what I said. The bargaining processes that took place. So yeah, I don't have to say apology or somebody was punished or whatever happened. One thing I know, there was a bargaining process that happened along the road. Yeah.
All right. I will table my question for now and wait for another time.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
So you might, thank you. Just want to give you a chance to answer one question so I can get
Mr. Dollar, let me tell you what Moses just did. Moses is a professional, and Moses does not want the police to be seen ugly. Moses also does not want you to have a different understanding of what not actually the reality, but the outcome is not anymore so much important to him. But the end result is that there is a message that have crossed across both divide. The police will now take caution, so Moses is not going to any further to fine tune it to certain way other than how he has said it. But Moses,
Yeah.
I am drawn by a few things you said, and it's giving me this question, right? Is the professionalism of journalism in Liberia actually what it should be or how it used to be? If I would want to give few examples and make comparison, in Europe, people who freelance must be accredited to freelance. Like Jamal, know, before I told you the short story, before I came to bottom line here, Jamal had my small little podcast signing a whole lot of documents and everything. It's a European law and you have to follow it. But nowadays, during my time, I remember I wrote a little while I worked with Moses Gray when they had some kind of vision newspaper. Then I had just come out of high school, and yeah, so practicing that time and looking at journalism today, I see a big improvement and also a huge challenge. There are people who go to scene, crime scene, it could be any other scene or an event, and they just claim journalism. Are some of those things a real challenge to the professionalism today?
So I first let me just give you a bit of history. I started journalism as a child broadcaster when UNICEF ran those child broadcasting programs.
By the way, my wife told me today she know you from Firestone.
Okay,
she
great.
Told
so
me
yeah, good. So I saw myself because I mean this is one profession. There's a UNO work I know in my life. I grew up knowing that I wanted to tell people's story. That gives empowerment to people because when we were in refugee life, radio was the most golden treasure we had. At that point, we're in Guinea, and I was so young, and I saw myself between the adults straining, even not understanding the language, the Queen's language, the message that was taking place at that point. So
from either a Philip radio or an Amazon.
Okay, yeah, a Philip radio, but besides that, there were radios that were provided by the WFP, the United Nations, that you kind of whine and probably put a whine and charges at 5 o'clock, everyone get around, or 3 o'clock, everyone get around. So I got the taste of that, just wanting, just admiring people wanting to get information, and every time they're surrounding, because it's like a town square, everyone gather around the radio. You see either somebody is sad or somebody feels empowered, they smiles, they sorrow on their faces, and it just drove me until I started youth activism, speaking for the children in the refugee camp before coming to Liberia. I just felt that telling people's story. I mean, I work at a radio piece, was a community radio. I moved to Radio Veritas, then moved to Star Radio, then moved to the Liberia Broadcasting System, when I rose all the way to become the director of television, the first director of the Liberia National Television, because in pre-war it was ERTV, but post-war we called it LNTV. So I became the first director for television programming at ILBS. So what happened, actually, coming to your question, I noticed that the rudimentary procedures, the kind of mentorship and trainings we went through during those periods were robust, were very demanding, that you needed to be excellent at all fronts. And if you just take 20 years back, you see the people that were in the media, they were in boys there were girls, there were women and men in the media. There were professional people talking about Frank Sewala Ledger, who ran in peace to his archie, Simbe Johnson, Janet Johnson Bryant, Mark Otto. I mean, the list is endless. These were giants. The Aaron Colley.
Margaret Shaw.
Yeah. So Augusta Margaret Shaw, Eva Flomo. I mean, I'm just trying to give names that those were women and men that when you honor their mentorship, the first thing, you're not thinking about the work. You're thinking that you have a mother, you have a father who's training you at home. So besides going to the school, you understood that being on a job was a learning period. You weren't thinking about how much you want to earn, you have what kind of cateau that is coming through. All you needed was you wanted to have a space. When you have one story on the radio, you're happy. You're happy that at least that one story in a month is on the radio. You feel accomplished. When you have one report on the radio, you're like, yeah, thank God. When you're given an opportunity to maybe read one script, you feel empowered. That gives you a kind of ability to motivation. But today, I mean, I know we will not compare the generation of yesterday to today, but the fight is that we're not the proper trainings aren't there. Smartphone has now become the medium of communication in our space. We've now driven away from just telling the right kind of stories to just having podcasts like this. Like you call me, you want to speak about journalism. You're asking me questions about journalism, but if you now everybody has gone to talk show. We call them what jack of all trade, master of none.
Master of none.
Yeah, master of none. So it's so demeaning for the profession at the moment, I can say. Since 2018, I left the local media. I've been getting calls. Oh, you need to come and help this radio. No, I don't want, because if you listen to the radio, it feels a bit disgusting that you have someone who's reading and they hardly pronounced. If you read some of the articles, some journalists, they are deplorable. I don't know whether some of them have even copywriters or proofreaders in the newsrooms. I mean, it's bad. I don't want to mince my words, right? It's bad.
Moses, Moses, let me hold you right there, right? I mean, your time, Jamal time, my time, right? I want to believe proofreaders were humans, but they have so many things to their advantages today. So
Sure.
Why aren't they making use of them?
I mean, let's assume you're reading a piece of a young man or a young woman who's writing as a journalist, and you can see exactly they've not put any human component in it. They're probably not giving the right kind of code that's supposed to reflect the story. In fact, they're waiting for speeches. They're not doing extra interviews to know exactly better details, to get better statistics of what someone is saying during the during their addresses. Maybe they make a striking point off script or off speech. They're not asking them exactly. I mean, I'm one person who don't just take blanket speeches. I listen to you and you make some good selling points. I come to you to interview you, and that comes through with serious mentorship. It didn't come through the classrooms. It came through with the kind of people you were able to learn alongside. That was one. So I mean, obviously they have technology at their advantage, but even the technology, they're failing to learn the technology and utilize the technology efficiently.
That's right. That's right. I will go to the next point before Jamal can come in. While working with the BBC, there are several footprints from Mr. Garzeawu at the level of the BBC. What will you remember, or what count of your several write-ups at the BBC that you think was the most amazing, and why do you think so? What message did it really have for Liberia, or the entire story?
Well, great. It's good that you put this on the screen. I mean, it might not be my best story, but I think it was the most challenging story to have written as a journalist from a country. Uh, Imagine you're standing at the inauguration grounds on Capitol Hill, and it's a transition period. Your president is taking the oath of office, and he's delivering his first speech to the country as head of that country. And you see that he's collapsing. The first thing is, what runs through your mind? Am I going to report this story? Am I going to write these lines that the president is collapsing? So, I mean, at that point, the BBC had, this was just a detailed story. At that point, the BBC had what we call Africa Live. So it was like telling the breaking stories, what's happening. And I took my responsibility. Remember, the journalist increase said the public journal is the public trust. So I took that so dearly to myself. I said, you know what? No matter what's happening, no matter I'm a Liberian, no matter this is a Liberian person, this is a Liberian event, this is a singular most important event in the country's history in every 6 years. But I have to tell this story. And I did a piece. And you know, a divided country with opposition and ruling position, where I mean, it became a debate. I mean, I got a talk by different people at that moment before even I did the full story. So, I mean, it gives me a responsibility. But this was not my best story that I would say. My best story was the story of the alleged fake Liberian doctor. And I mean, that story, that guy was unreachable. He switched off his cell phones, his socials or whatever. But I still found a way. I mean, as a journalist, never give up. I always try to. When you're going forward, you have to move forward and try to get to the story. So what I did, I had to find him. And that was done with colleagues from London and Nairobi. We had to chase him out. I got his email address from the Ministry of Health and the directorate. We wrote in an email, and he was happy to reply. And we also had to reach the university that he claimed that he had graduated from. I mean, that was a detailed investigation. Why others were just reporting on the surface about he being a fake doctor or whatever. I had to go beyond, because I mean, as a foreign correspondent, there is one thing you need to take into consideration. You have to do your own, you have a legal review to do. You have your own fact check review to do. You have your own ethical review. It means that your story must meet the ABC. Even if it meets the ABC, you must be able to meet all of those criteria. So if you do a legal review, or do a fact check, you do your own editorial review, then your story fits to be at that point. So what I did was I had to go through that rigorous research. And again, there's one story I can point to that. Yeah, I would say that yes, I was born, but I think I was a kid when the coup took place. Tobo and his team of cabinet members were assassinated, and after 45 years, a funeral rites was held in his honor and his team members. It was a story of sober reflection, a story of talking to the Tobos, and also those just trying to chronicle the past of Liberia. A young man who had no picture of what happened before, a young man not understanding where we came from as a country, and getting a chronological, first-hand narrative from families, from wives, from people who were part of what happened, the historical perspective of the coup, how Doe died. I mean, it was something that I thought was my best story, not because it did give more investigative in depth, but it gave me a picture of telling Liberia's story that I can do a memoir even from from that. And I still got a lot of my transcripts, some of my audio recordings that I think there are more to the Liberian Revolution than just what we read every day, what I read in grade school. So, yeah.
Yeah, Moses Colley Garzeawu, former BBC journalist, is our guest tonight on the Ball Idea. Quite interesting story. You know, one thing is like, it's an honor to have you. I mean, telling Liberia what the story, what unfolding in Liberia. This is it. And you are in a position where you have to stand as a journalist, as a professional, as well as a Liberian. So we want to first welcome you. Thank you very much. So first, the thing is, I want you to take us through being a journalist. Like you just spoke about Liberian journalists, where there are a lot of we are lacking some sense of professionalism in Liberia right now. And you work your way through to become one of those, to be selected as BBC correspondent after Jonathan Payelele, when from Pillar Moses Band to Jonathan Payelele, Jonathan Raffle. You can name the rest of them that were there that run that story that make Liberia look great out there. And when Jonathan served almost 2 decades, 10 years with BBC,
3 decades.
3 decades. 3 decades. You came to fill the shoes. And tell us, how do you feel coming up as a young man who was born during who grew up during the course of the Civil War, came from a refugee camp, grew his way through, and became one of the voice that tells the story of Liberia. Just take us through from the time getting to BBC. How do you feel and hear your voice on the radio, more especially on the BBC?
I think it's grace. The first thing I say is grace, because I probably is not the best journalist in Liberia. I might not profess to be the best journalist that have come through Liberia, but I think I took my own philosophical line that there is nothing too big to accomplish, and I did not dream about the BBC, honestly. I did not dream about the BBC, and there was one radio I dreamed about, because when I started journalism, I came through as a sports reporter, actually. And also doing youth programs. So I dreamed there was one person. If I would point to people at the BBC, maybe I would say Jenny Horace from Mugazi, at that point reporting BBC Fast Track. But Sonny Young, now retired Voice of America, was one person that I really
admired.
Yeah, and there was also one King Richard Coty, peace to his ashes, was one person from Zimbabwe that also drove me to global media, especially for sports. So I grew up. I said, you know what, I'm a Catholic, and I wanted to work for Veritas, and I started doing Archbishop Francis and the Kids program. It was not Veritas at the time. I think, or ERCM, something like that. Then. Before it was changed to Sister Mary Lorraine in the Kids program, I had left. I moved to Firestone, and I started to work with a few community radio stations, doing child broadcasting work. Before that, I'd done a lot of child broadcasters program with DC 101, with KSFM, with the Very Radio Veritas, ELCM at the time. So, but I thought that I was hungry and I wanted to be a journalist. That was the only thing I wanted, honestly. So when I saw myself at Veritas, I said, okay, good, bingo. I think this is the starting point. And I moved up to from Veritas to Star Radio, then to the State Radio. And then I said to myself, I think I can. While working for Star Radio, I started to stream for the West Africa Democracy Radio. Many thanks to Frank Sinwala, who was then assigned in Dakar. I streamed sports, and later I started to do high news for them. Then I left Star Radio and moved to LBS as a reporter, recruited by Ledger and Ambrose at a point to contribute a bit of tech savvy. New media was already something at my fingertips, because I did a few travel. Working for Star Radio, we had a Robin White as one of the lead consultants. Chris Simpson, peace to his ashes. Chris Simpson, peace to his ashes. All of them came they kind of enhance our capacity, provided some of those opportunities for us to travel out and got hands on some of the technologies that were not in Liberia at that time. We already had hands on it. So Adobe Audition, Cool Edit, Premiere Pro, we started to navigate and work in it, even as intermediate or beginners or whatever. So it gave a bit of leverage. Then at LBS, I spent like a decade at LBS, moving through from editor to director to this one until I became a director for television, which I managed for at least 5 to 6 years before I decided to give away because it became much political than the professional space. I thought I left in 2018. Then I joined the Voice of America. When I joined the Voice of America, that was how I thanks to James Botte, he gave me the leverage. I did dozens of stories at the Voice of America, on Daybreak Africa, later to Nightline Africa and Africa News Tonight. I saw one amazing woman who worked for that viewer for over 40 years, Kit Poundal, say.
Yeah.
She took me like a son, and all the time she gave me tools to understand how global media works. Then fast forward, when I was at the VOA, I met a friend called Thomasin Ford. She was a trainer for the Journalists for Human Rights, the Canadian-based Journalists for Human Rights. She was in Liberia, and I was one of the fellows then when she was in Liberia around 2009, 2010, 2011. So she took me and she reached out and said, Moses, Perere is leaving the BBC, and what do you think? Do you think you can? And I think I've checked, and I think you're one person. She was a senior journalist at the BBC, senior producer. That's how she ushered me in. I'm just saying this story for the very first time. That's how I got to the BBC.
Quite interesting. We are interested to listen to you. Go on.
And that's how. And interestingly, I've never applied for the job in my life, in my journalistic career. I don't know how it happened, but I came across one motivational statement from Denzel Washington once, and he said, "Your current job is the gateway to your next job, is your application to your next job." And he also said, "Qualification will take you to get a job, but diligence and commitment will be the one to keep you on the job and maybe take you beyond that job." So I've always stuck that in my head. So when I joined, when that happened, it was just like a magic. In 48 hours, getting a clearance, an email clearance to join the BBC team, specifically in London now for Africa Service. So it's been a journey, and working for this institution is a whole university, I can say, beyond the kind of university lessons we learn in our various colleges, the courses we take, the over 400 courses we take, because you're meeting, before you do one story, you're talking to 5-6 editors at that point. There's one who's talking to you about the details of the story. You're pitching, you're redesigning. Even if you're redesigning your entire story map with one person, you're doing somebody who's going to help you with grammar construction. You're doing somebody who's going to give you the pillar of the story. You're doing someone who's helping you how to craft the headline, especially when it's for print. For radio, you're doing pre-interview. If you're talking in tape, you're going to be, so much, and that's how you get better and better. And I can say for the fact that working over there with my close to 10 years in international media has been, and I'm not forgetting about it, because they say I'm a sports reporter. I did work for the Go.com, and Go.com is one of the world's biggest sports magazine online. I worked for them, wrote a couple of stories for them at that point. One of my biggest story, I think if you Google, you see who is George Weah, go.com, you see who is George Weah. That's one story that I did. That was one story that I did, and I felt that was a story that I relatively predicted what George Weah was going to be, building up to the elections in 2017. I did that story, just exploring the man George Weah before he became president for Liberia and what he will bring to the presidency. So I mean, it's an honor, and I believe that I'm not the best journalist in Liberia, but I think over 2 decades and a half in this profession, I think my story is one thing that should resonate every young man who is aspiring to be the journalist, or even though journalism in Liberia is sacrificial, I would say, for the fight. I mean, I got to realize that when I started to work globally and earning something that I think a professional should earn with their degree and their professional life. So yeah, and one thing journalism have done is that it puts you before kings, before presidents, and I'm blessed to have interviewed a couple of presidents, Obasanjo, Goodluck Jonathan, John Mahama, former president Dr. George Banda, George Weah, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Joseph Boakai. I mean, joint interview with President Thabo Mbeki. I mean, a couple of dignitaries, and that's the beauty of journalism. It allows you to meet kings and queens and sit you around the table with people who make the decisions for the world to thrive. So, I mean, this is something that I'm quite excited about, and I can encourage anyone. Yeah, you must be a journalist, but don't die as a journalist. Yeah. You're muted.
You know, I'm just amused by you about sitting talking about it. I grew up enjoying this profession. It's not something for a living, but I grew up enjoying doing it. The people I work with, Francis and Samola, we work with the still recorder with Francis Pay and many other people who grew up in Liberia. We did those things coming down to people you talk about.
You're talking about former Representative Francis Pay?
We set up National Recorder newspaper right under the
so he asked him, he'll tell you. So around the 2003 area, when the war was raging in Monrovia, my mom, at the time I was already at Veritas, my mom had to drag me from, because she's from Lofa, so they moved to the displaced camp in Maimon, so they had to drag me from Monrovia to Maimon, and Francis Pay, and peace to his ashes, George Gibson.
Oh, he's late.
Yeah, George is late. So George died 2 years ago. They ran the Y Echo program for the YMCA. So I relatively was a producer for that Y Echo program from the displaced camp for them. So I mean, that's the growth process, and I always say that I'm proud of those moments. I'm never shy to say that. I mean, I'm a war child. I'm not happy for the war. The war also gives me an opportunity to be what I am today.
We will let you. I'll go to Mr. Dolly to ask questions, because if we keep asking you and we'll go through it, I know we'll be enjoying a lot. I don't know. I told you I can name journalists from the past journalists in Liberia that I know, that I admire and I work with. And I didn't, as I said, I didn't do it as a profession, but I really love it, and I do it on my leisure time. And I do a lot on that. So we can't talk about this so much. We'll talk about the great things you guys have done for that country, and we'll make sure to take our news out to the people. We really appreciate that. But I know today we want to talk about, first time, I think this would be a first since you resigned from BBC to grant an interview. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not I love telling stories. I don't like people.
Right, okay. Mr. Dolly, now let's get Moses Garzeawu, our guest tonight. Ask your questions. I mean, we will keep asking. I hope you mind asking you questions. I know you're a journalist, so you mind taking questions from us. Mr. Dolly, ask that question roll to our guests.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara, and my junior brothers, Augustines, and junior brother, Moses Colling. I like to ask questions. That's my job. I learned. I would like to know this thing is based on your profession. You are international journalists, well-lettered persons. How do you see the smooth cooperation between the private journalists in our country and the government media entity? That's my first question. The second question is, why is it that our journalists does not ask the senior officials in our country a tough question, and they just run me around the question and just leave it at that? You don't think that is a yellow journalism?
Mr. Morris, thank you so much. Well, I mean, it's good that you're a journalist and you understand.
I'm not journalist. I'm not journalist.
So media polarization. If you look at
I'm an ex-law enforcer.
Okay.
Investigator.
Okay. Media polarization, I would say. If you look at media ownership in Liberia, for instance, today to pick out an independent media house in Liberia is real. I can say for the fact it's a difficult thing. I mean, there's one journalist who will be accused on OKFM of supporting a particular regime, but yet he's still running a public trust. There's one radio station that everybody, the public, knows that is that radio station that is owned by the opposition. There's one radio station that is owned by one politician. There's one radio, everybody knows that the owner of the radio station is a promoter, is an ambassador in government. Mm-hmm. There are community radio stations that get subsidy from the county development funds, and they're relatively owned by the community, but their supervision is basically with the county authorities. Do you think that journalists working in that institution have the balls to ask those hard questions? Unlike me, nobody questions me when I'm asking my questions. I ask my hard questions. There was this perception that LBS will not carry hard stories. LBS, but if I tell you, dozens of awards I won, both local and internationally, I won them when I worked for LBS. I won an award when I worked for LBS when I reported students were sitting on the floor just on the outskirts of the capital in Douazon, on the road leading to the house of the Minister of Education at then. So it comes with the journalist's own test. It's good that we're in a new media age, and this is what I would say. I can say, if I decide to be a journalist today, I don't relatively need to work for one radio station to tell stories. I can open my YouTube channel. I can have my TikTok account, and I can tell amazing stories, tough stories that the world will go for, even global media houses will go for. So it's about media ownership, and you're working and you're earning around $50 a month. The media economy is also disastrous. Let me say it to you. You know why? Because the media owners are not hiring the professionals, and so they take the rookies, and the rookies will take anything. At the end of the day, the rookies will depend on the handouts that comes from the field. So that's the downside of what professionalism is today in Liberia in the media space. And the last time I did the rejoinder to the land councillor Tiawon Gonglo. He wrote about yellow journalism in Liberia. I knew, he had a good point. But later on, he came to do a second piece about why media owners are saying, the reason they're not getting ads from government, they're not getting money, and so blah, 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 blah. So I said to him, I did a rejoinder, and the rejoinder was very clear that the councillor was being misled, because even these media owners don't pay these journalists. There are media institutions that have not paid their reporters, their workers for more than a year or 2 years. How do you expect a family man, somebody who's a professional person, or maybe even a volunteer, a rookie, when I get salary for even 6 months or 5 months? Do you expect them to survive? How do you expect them to survive? I mean, they're going to compromise the profession. Am I right? Obviously, they're going to.
All
Yeah.
right. So, point of question, point of inquiry, brother Mosey. Are you simply, based on your explanation and your experience right now, are you simply saying that we don't have independent journalists in our country?
We got independent journalists, but we relatively don't have independent media houses. Relatively. Yeah.
All right. So I will table my question for now. I'm trying to prepare another one.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Dollar. Thank you, Mr. Dollar. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Moses,
Wow.
Gus, Moses is here with us. Hey, Manny, good to see him here. Thanks for having him with us. Tell us what Moses got a lot of questions to answer. Moses will take us through. I want to give you one question. Moses, tell me the most dangerous time reporting in Liberia that you feel alive.
I mean, every time you report has been dangerous. So my most dangerous time was basically when I traveled to the forest to go and report on the gold diamond mining area. It's deep in the forest of Bong County. They call it Camp Libya. It's a whole chain of different settlements where they're mining. I mean, there is no law and order. I had to walk for like around 3 to 4 hours, but there, I mean, there's no law and order. Just somebody who would just wake up and do. I mean, I saw people with machetes doing bad things. I mean, just bad things. There are people who were taking drugs openly. You like, is this really happening? But I mean, it was dangerous, but it was worth it. The next point was during the elections time. During elections time, it was quite an uneasy period, especially when campaigns were ongoing. When you do one report, if I report on Jamel today and the story satisfy him, I mean, I'm the best journalist. And if I report tomorrow, it doesn't satisfy Jamel, I become the worst journalist. And the most scary moment was recently when I got a lot of threatening messages, whatever, but I just play low. June, there was it July 17th? It was just 2 days after my birthday when the Stern had their protest in Liberia. The Enough protest. That was the first edition of the Enough protest, and the Stand team. That was the team. I was with them from the morning all the way to the evening. I covered the entire event. But I mean, this is where people don't understand. And let me say this for a fight: before a story is approved to be carried, even if it's commissioned, we have the BBC Central Code. A central code of at least 10 editors are seated there to decide the running stories for the day. All other stories that come, they're just a backup just to keep the platform running. So I covered the entire day, and my bosses decided that most of this doesn't cut it. I mean, it doesn't meet the international standards for today, right? So we're not going to carry. And there were people who were bent on sending me threatening messages, calling me on unknown numbers and threatening me how, in fact, I was already in bed with the government giving money now to air their stories. And I was like, what the F is this? Sorry for my language. Because I mean, it was raining that day. I took my time to walk under the rain from Painesville to Capitol Hill. I got soaked up. You think if I didn't want to tell that story, I'd waste my time to get in the field? And it even came at a point that people wrote to the BBC and telling the BBC that I was compromised not to report a story. and they got the response they wanted to get. And that's why I say it's about your conscience, it's about being professional. So, I mean, there have been some real scary moments, and as a journalist, there's no story worth dying for. And if you're good, there are always people ahead to come to you and to tell you that, hey, you gotta be careful, this thing is happening. I mean, even if they are sitting the same time making the same plot, there are people. And the good thing I always tell a journalist, you got to learn to be professional. Don't take money to compromise your integrity. The same person that gave you money or do favor for you today will be the same very person that come out tomorrow to vilify you. And I can walk with my head up high with over 2 decades and a half. No man in Liberia can say I use Moses to compromise, I use Moses to tarnish or be unethical. Not today. So with my head up high, I leave active profession to say I can be an ambassador for ethical journalism in Liberia, and I can tell all of my mentees that that's the first goal. You'll be remembered. You will be remembered for all of the stories you report, but you'll be worst remembered for the one bad mistake you make as a professional journalist. Nobody will take you seriously ever.
Right. If you just join us, this is Moses' colleague Garzeawu, who's fortunate as a guest of the Borderland Club tonight. And we have a question. Please drop your questions. Now we'll ask him if there's time for us. We'll go to our colleague to ask his question. God, what do you got for Moses?
Wow, Moses, what a great joining, bro. What a great joining. Uh, let's talk a little bit of why you decided to say goodbye to the BBC when you, of course, have said when you got there, that's when you knew that the profession has, I mean, being at that level, that's when you realize that, yes, it was something, and not until when you were there, it could not, bring you the real income or the expectation that will balance both your life and the profession. Tell us a bit of it, and then I also want to look into when you were a sport journalist. Let's talk a bit about it. Specifically, let's look into challenges as well as sport journalists, because I see a more leverage with the other journalists than the sport journalists. Example, I will still make the comparison with my time, your time, Jamal, and the rest of the legends who have passed. When you listen to the radio, and even if it was the Lone Star of Liberia playing, I mean, the commentary you get when you're not on the field, you can feel the environment. You feel the environment. You can realize, you can anticipate being in that kind of environment immediately. And remember the famous slogan that was going around, what a miss, oh my God, those were things that were spicing up the commentary by great people who sat, behind the microphone, giving play-to-play description of matches that Lone Star played or our national county meets. Unlike today, you will hear one person behind the microphone is looking for a word he's taking 7 to 6 minutes to find and to replace as well. So let's hear from you about those times.
It could be, was he a sport writer? Was he a broadcaster? That's the difference we want to know tonight. Was he a sport writer, Moses?
Sports journalism was a trailblazer for my journalistic journey.
Okay. So we asking people let's give names here. I'll just add what you're saying. Legend like Patrick Manju, Herbert Grisby, and many others that were there that were making the sport. They would put the enthusiasm with the support of Patrick, what's the guy name? Cyrus William Badi, people like Steve Makundu. Those guys, what they were giving support when they're giving these sport commentary in Liberia. There are a lot of great legends. More especially Herbert Grisby, one of the one with Patrick. They lot of that sport commentary. You know that probably you may not be around, but there was days like
Well, peace to his ashes. Patrick Manjo was he was a far away mentor. I mean, I still do commentary alongside Saros
Oh,
Badio.
okay. Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean,
Sarah's the boss value.
yeah, he's still here. He does the Saras Pass show on ELBC. When I was at ELBC, we relatively did the commentaries together. The Hassan Kiewu
Oh,
and the
yes,
likes.
I
So
think you.
yeah, yeah. So when Peace to his ashes also Zoga James. So
Yeah.
I mean, sports journalism. I can tell anyone is one of the best way if you want to get ushered into the journalistic profession, because you know what it does is it sharpens your attention to the story, to the details. Because if you're covering a football match or a basketball match, you're following the details minute by minute. You want to know what's happening, unlike today where people are just reporting scores. When we were doing sport journalism, it means that you have to do a full description of the match. Do a match report. But
Mhm.
today, if you just go online, the only thing you see from the young journalists will be this person beat this person 2-0, the person score. How descriptive? Let somebody look when you're writing. When you're writing, let somebody read like they were there. You got to create that image in the minds of the people. I mean, it's not bragging. I would say for the fight, people who mentor me, they're still around a lot. Frank said,
Yeah.
"What I let you running is there." And peace to his ashes. Orisho Bobby Wally was one person, and one person also really pushed me and helped me
Justin
out.
Corno also used to be in the
Yeah,
commentary too,
yeah.
right?
The legacy of the celebrator, Hillary, Justin Connor is still here. I mean, Raymond Zabit is still here. So I say, I mean, the legends are here. And one thing I did, and Oprah Winfrey always said, look for people who you can learn from, not people who can learn from you. As a young person, you must be able to look out for people. I should be looking for Mr. Maurice Dolly to be my friend. Not because he can be my dad, but I say he's my friend because I want to learn from you. And when I'm learning from you, it means that I'm going to take the good virtues that you want to impart in me. I'm going to be looking at you, how you go about doing what you're doing, because obviously one day I'm going to grow to be like you. I'm going to have those white beard the same way too. So yeah, obvious. Yeah, that's the fight. And if you look at today, you ask Hillary Connor and the likes, they will tell you that this is one thing I always did. I was always behind the big men and women. I never had like two young people going in the field, because obviously two are going up. It will be blind leading the blind. Let me make it simple. Blind will be leading the blind. So no disrespect to my colleagues at that time, but I always sought out to get behind the old people to learn more. So yeah, so that was it. How we finally got closer to the Lone Star team, the George Weah 11, was through Ledger who ran it, because Ledger was reporting for BBC Fast Track when I was a young reporter contributing to the sports at the time at Veritas. So I used to follow Leggy sometimes to the Lone Star camp to go and
Yeah.
see. Yeah, so that's how I got connected to the guys. Leggy is doing BBC, doing one or two small interview and bring it to Veritas. I mean, you know what I mean to at that time, you know what I mean to interview Kevin Sewe or Musa Shannon, or I mean
Prince
Joshua
Day.
Prince there and George Riade were the big guys. I mean, to speak to much her, but at least sometimes today we have a George Riade and I have a very good relationship from there. So I mean, it's a whole long sport journalism is robust, and any journalist who comes to, if you look across the world, some of the best journalists were sports reporters today. Today, if you just read some of the world best journalists, read about them, you know that the entire growth process came from sport reporting, because it's analytical, it's detailed, it's more focus driven. Yeah.
I will make it a conversation now. I'll ask you some at BBC. What was your best journalist that you say, well, this is I want to be in this guy's seat. I mean, you don't want to be like him. You want to mirror him. BBC. Then we'll go to Liberia in terms of sport writers, sport journalists. That's the one. Ask. Can you answer that for me? Your most admired journalist at BBC in Africa, the African service.
Come again, you say on what?
Yeah, your most admired journalist at African service, BBC African service. What's your most admired journalist you had at BBC African service?
Oh, come on. Don't make me be biased now. Come on. That when we set up KMTV, that I even married a program after, before even I started working, I was still with the VOA at that time. Before even I started to work for the BBC, and I felt so bad when that program went off the air. The Hard Talk with Steven Saka was Saka has Steven Saka is on, and I mean I'm a tough. Yeah, he's retired from the BBC, and the Hard Talk is also off the BBC now.
Really, I think he was on the radio as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I say it's on television now. It's not on the radio anymore. It's on television.
Yeah, High Talk. Yeah, High Talk. No, High Talk is no longer live on. It's no longer live. But Sako has retired. Timmy Sako has retired, but he was one person I admire so much. Then also he
could drill you with questions, man. You could put in the hot seat. That's the guy that he was another thing, man.
He's a dreadful guy in terms of questioning, and that's my kind of journalistic attribute. I love to ask the high questions.
We'll ask you that question before you leave us then. Don't we're trying to make it quiet. We'll give the chance to Mr. Dole and the guy to ask you the hard questions. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's go to Liberia. Look at the legends and the most recent one, and tell us what Liberian journal from the people that you admire before you got to the right place. Okay.
Don't go far. I think there's no journalist that have surpassed Frank Sinwala in Liberia for the past decades. I mean, he's creamed it at cream in terms of he may not be seeing him breaking the stories, the wars.
I know Frank.
Frank comes with an attribute that beholds a professional. He's not driven by who you are, what you are. His bravery.
Is that personality?
Moses, did you encounter Zinatana Piwu?
Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Mr. Dole. Any question for Moses?
Before you go to Mr. Dole Jamal, let me leave Moses with this one as well. Prior to the short conflict in the 2002 to 3, around that, I think we had was it 2003, around there, before Taylor left. On the radio used to be, I think Omeo Radio carries some of those programs, and Veritas as well were carrying some of the community radio program, and they were aired in our native dialects. And it was becoming quite unique. Do we have such program again, maybe at the level of LBS or other community radio?
Yeah, I think the last time I was at LBS, they now have I think a dedicated language radio at LBS now. But I know that for my years at LBS, we had a dedicated language program at LBS, the language news and different programming for the language. So yeah, I mean, besides LBS, I don't think there's one radio station that's doing that. Not to my knowledge. Yeah.
And are we also encouraging people into the sports area as well, into local language commentary? So
I mean, this is one thing. You know, I'm an East African freak, but if you go to East Africa, you hear they're relatively they are relatively doing commentary in English, but they are taking at least 40% of that commentary into Kiswahili. So I like what. But also in Ghana, they do a lot of commentary in Tree, Ghana. But there was one old man I saw in Grand Bassa. I mean, I
saw the video as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's his passion. Year in, year out, he's doing that. So if that is one thing I really, because we got this intel post. I'm trying to see how we can be able to find a way, if we can, depending because it can't just be Bassa. It means we must be able to look for the other.
My man, you need to run
other
some of your ads. You need to run some of your ads with the bottom line Liberia. It will not cost you much.
Yeah, let me Dollar ask a question. We got some questions because what's happening right now, Moses, Mr. Dollar, I just want to I'll give you a chance. Moses is in a situation where we're struggling. We sat here, one of our colleagues who worked with for almost 30 years in the field of journalism, Linfor Ego and Goe. He's out with us tonight. Probably may know it Linfor. Linfor lives in Norway. And we sat here for some time to discuss the problem, the challenges of Liberian journalism. I mean, the media in Liberia, both print and electric, the communication in general. But it's good that we are with us. So we want you at some point to tell us, after Mr. Dollar questions, what contest are we in? Because everybody's carrying in Liberia right now, carrying a microphone in their hand. Is this something that need to be reformed to make it more responsible? Because the level of journalism in Liberia is already mixed. So those are questions I would like to know, because Liberian journalism is really not like you talk about the council talk about yellow journalism in Liberia, and now the credibility is low, and the people are not being well paid. So they'll be you go to every length to be able to get some survive. So I'll give you a Dollar question first. Let me ask a question. So those I think I will want you to talk about, because I want you to tell a detail that you've been an experienced person over 10 years in the field, to tell us how can we reform Liberian journalism to be a more professional, like to compare themselves with their peers internationally. But Mr. Dollar, I'll give you a chance first to ask your question. So Moses, after that, you can answer that question for me, please. Mr. Dollar?
Thank you very much. To be honest, I would like to request His Honor to see whether he can do some recommendation to the sitting government of our country, being professional. The question that we're having, I think Augustine asked that question. That is, what prompted him to leave the BBC? But that question has already been answered. So asked. So I don't want to go to that Larry. But Moses, what would be your best recommendations to the sitting government based on your experience, your level of knowledge in journalism, and equally so, if to be selected or dialect or language to be selected in our country, which language do you think that should be suitable for all Liberians to concur with?
Sorry, I'm not an expert in linguistics, or maybe Latin travels, but
but you should know the major tribe in our country.
I think we already know. I think we already know the most popular tribes in Liberia.
The man want you to tell you to say that Pele. Don't mind that. What you want you to do?
They're teaching Pele at the University of Liberia, so that means that
Moses, they don't want you to tell you that Pele. That's what you want you to say. That's it.
But they're teaching Pele at the University of Liberia. Yeah, they are teaching Pele. So I think even the educational sector have taken a step into that. The thing we should be saying now. Yes. Should we have it in grade schools? Should it come from grade schools, primary from K to primary level, secondary level, before going to the university? Maybe that could be some of the recommendations. But as we speak, Pele has been taught at the University of Liberia for quite a long time. Yeah.
I did Pele when I was at Banga Medical School. I did Pele from 10th grade to 11th grade. I would be taught Pele as well. So it was part of this curriculum in the school. I don't know why it's been stopped. But anyway, Moses, want to welcome you again, once again. If you just joined us, this is the Born Liberia, live from Europe. My name is Jamal Kamara. Tonight we have with Moses' colleague, Garzeawu.
It's Garzeawu. My name is. So just put my name is syllables. You'll be easy.
Garzeawu.
Yeah.
Moses colleague Garzeawu is the former journalist of BBC African Service, correspondent for Liberia, is working now to discuss politics, media, Liberians in general. So you can ask your question if you have any question for Moses. I always drop your questions and I will try to ask him if he can ask this time. So we don't have much time, Moses. Moses has been with us for 1 hour, 20 minutes. We got like 20, 15 more minutes with him. So if you got a question for Moses, drop your question. We'll ask him. Probably may invite another time. We're not go our guests want to have another time, so you have a nice time with us. So we'll go to God. God, question for Moses.
Obviously, Jamal, I will ask most a few more questions, and that it can go around the table. So, Garzeawu, now that you are out of the BBC, where is the great journalist Garzeawu heading to? What should we expect?
I know I answered the question, but you still won't come by again.
Man say you going private. Say you want to know where you going. He said you go private.
I mean,
that's why he said.
I just want rest more. Let me just rest more now.
Okay.
All right.
Is it not enough for you?
Are you cooking something for the Liberian people other than Intel Sports?
Tommy, do you have? No, actually, yeah. I mean, that may be a future plan. I mean, I've laid that foundation for quite a long time now. That foundation is already there. So, I really hope that I can get those resources to be able to do what I want to do. Because I mean, I'm a kind of ambitious person, and I mean, I know people think that when you're ambitious, it means that you're being negative or whatever. But for me, I'm an achiever. So if I want to do something, I want to do it better. So yeah, it's something I got in. I have some plans, even though I'm going to be resting, but I have some plans, but not now. I mean, I know nothing else besides journalism, and so school, work, or everything that journalism I know. So my whole life that media work. So even if I'm going to do another job, I gotta look for another media work to do. And I'll go do nursing, and I'm accountant. so don't worry. Tommy, if you get job in Germany, just tell me say Moses will get one communication job in Germany. Just can sit down and be doing it.
Moses, quick. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Before I leave you with Jamal and Mr. Dolly, there is a comment from Paul Cholople, and he's asking you to join.
I saw the comment. I would think about it. I would think about that other one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's answered. Quick question. I know Moses is quite interesting. I don't think anyone want to go.
So the question is, why everybody want me to join their platform? I'm ready. I say I retire. Then why you want me? I say I retire.
So probably your transfer fee. So they're not putting a good transfer fee up there. Then they put a good one up there.
Or maybe the man is the Ronaldo in the game.
The negotiation, the bill, you have to match other bills, so you also making it attractive. Moses, you know, one thing I noticed from people like John Vambo, Jonathan Raffle, name like Richie, many other great people that went to BBC, Jonathan Pelele, Moses Bantu. I can say their name those legends. What? BBC, if you get to BBC, the way you correspond, the way you talk, the pronunciation, everything is different. Do you guys go through a training? You be brought to London to train, or take us through a little bit of that, because it's quite different from a typical local journalist. Your voice is different, your pronunciation is different, your way of looking at stories is different. What is it like? Do you go through a training to do that?
Thanks to Liberia first. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it comes with foundation. Obviously, I'm not going to learn English when I'm almost 40-year-old or over 40-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing is your foundation. And I take clue from when President Trump asked
President
president, where did he learn English? I got that question before even they asked President Buckeye that question. So the head of the Africa Bureau at the Voice of America, like I said, she was like a mother to me, Kate Pound Dowsing, and she asked me, "What did you go to school?" I like, Liberia. She said, "Didn't you go anywhere for education?" I said, "Why you asked?" And she said, "Because simply you speak English," and that was all. I mean, if you are a communicator, one thing you should understand is you are communicating to people. It's not how many series, how many spin you add on that word. It's about people understanding what you're delivering to them. And I've always noted that, even from the local saying that when you're communicating to someone, almost like you wake up in the morning, you're about to speak to someone, or good morning, or nobody understands the good morning. That's somebody understand that you're speaking to them. You mean it.
No, Moses, 1 second. I want to make it like this. We have our librarian with us speaking, right? And sometimes when you're reporting, you dropping the story online. Now we're going to join our colleague, our correspondent Moses Garzeawu in Liberia to feed us in. If you don't know what you're talking about, go drop into the library in English. So you just got the audience confused. But then, are you in that state of mind to put yourself in a situation where you have to speak that standard English? That's the question I'm asking.
So yeah,
because a couple of times you've been interviewed on the radio. I heard you a lot of times. So you gave a story of Liberia and something happened. Yeah.
You are talking about Newsday on the Newsday program. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously, is something that you should get at the back of your mind, that you're communicating to a global audience. That it's not only about Liberians. Obviously, Liberians are going to understand what you're saying, but also you should just understand that you need to speak English for your English audience. And I mean, it's something quite challenging sometimes, because you're in the middle of it. Did I do well? Did I communicate properly? Did I answer the question right? Because before even you go on live, is basically you have to do like a two-way. You have to talk to the producer. What questions you're going? If you have a tape, you're going to talking. So like talking tape, like I'm reporting. I know when I have to provide my outward to say, if I say Tommy will be going to Ghana tomorrow. So it means that, I should be able to have except that Tony will tell me I'm going to Ghana to have a bilateral meeting on 10. You have to come back to me from the pick up from another point. Almost like you're doing a whole package, but in a live form. So, or you are just doing a straight piece, a voice piece. So it's different. It's like maybe somebody would want a piece for you for world news, the bulletin. You need a 30-second summary. So you're doing that. Maybe if you're supposed to say the Liberian president to his inaugural speech, that clip, that cue is going to go. All they need from you is maybe 10, 15 seconds of. So you're communicating to a global audience, and it should come to you that you're not only talking to Liberians, you're telling the Liberian story to the rest of the world.
Moses, this picture, I put it back here. If you just joined me, we'll just discuss. Moses was the one. Moses reported this story to BBC. We got it from the BBC website. Moses, at this time, I know it's not your best story, one of your best stories, but it's one of the iconic pictures that really represent you. Your name is stick on this report. For the next 20 years, Moses' colleague, Garzeawu, reported this story. And you were there at the time, right? You were there at the time to report the story, sitting there. And how was BBC? I know your editors, producers was on the phone asking you questions of the person was falling out. And what was the moment for you? And then you were like, your telephone was just big more calls coming in, because this is a iconic picture. This is the moment where President Joseph Boakai was giving an oral speech, and he was just dropping off. And you just told the story. Did you snap this picture yourself?
No, we got this picture from, I think, Reuters.
The Reuters Reuters.
Yeah, but the first few, the first few ones that was published on Africa Live were the ones I snapped. but you were supposed to wait to see the how you call it, the TV version also, because I had to do it live
Yeah,
from Capitol Hill. So
I saw
I
that.
mean, it was like I said, it was a moment that you needed to understand that you have a creed to protect. That is a journalistic creed. So the public genre is the public interest, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was, I had to tell my story. I had to tell the world story, not my story, not Liberia's story, but the world story. The world needed that story. Yeah, obviously, it's still showed. I mean, I'm proud of it, and I feel that when I see it today, I feel that at least
Yeah,
somebody was able to see it, somebody was able to read it. Yeah.
and the second to that, before I want to welcome our friend, our colleague Paul. Another story that also made headline in the News International was the fire at the Capitol building.
The
You also
capital.
reported that, yeah, the
Yeah.
Capitol. You also reported that story, and that was
Yeah.
another story that caught the attention of the world. And like you were there telling the story, and BBC got you that 2-3 minutes, so I mean 2 seconds to explain. And you know, how was that moment? How do you feel that everybody listening to you? What's happening like there and like Moses? We got now we join our correspondent Moses to tell us what's going on. How was the moment? There was a three events that really capture the world attention. This story and also the result of the elections when George we are accepted the results.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was. I mean, sometimes it's you know, it's like a journalist is like a football player. When a football player score a goal, they're celebrating, right? Because it's hard to score a goal. And when you do a bigger story, and it's not only, so you got to look at what's the placement of this story, my story, and so forth. And you get a point that your story even comes on a breaking news, or maybe it goes to World Service banner. You know, there's a there's always a banner. If it goes there and you are at the top, you feel proud at that moment because you feel you've worked, you've accomplished at that moment. Uh, that's the only thing for me. It's always my pride moment, because if I report a story and people have to go and search your story on a website before they see it, I mean, I don't feel. And I do the story, my boss is writing me back and say your story for this week got 10 million hits. I feel proud because that is a story that I thought. I mean, the story of the doctor before, under 24 hours, under 24 hours, I had my boss writing me that uh we already have, that was around, I think, 4 to 5 hours, we already got 650,000 people have hit the story.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was reshared on over 300 different platforms, MSN, Yahoo News, and so forth. So I mean, as a journalist, those are the proudest moment you can have. And uh, it makes you emotional at times, because there are thousands of reporters, that there are hundreds of stories that comes in that moment, and your story stands out. And I mean, I feel that it represented my family first, myself first, that my name will be on the banner, my family name will be
I think we had some technical
trade.
issue with
I
Moses. Okay. Mhm.
mean, yeah. So it's an honor for me. So I
Thank you.
mean, I don't. Yeah.
Thank you, Moses. So I want to welcome our colleague. We don't have much time. We got 5 more minutes with Moses. We just want to welcome our colleague Paul, who just joined us. One of our colleagues been on busy schedule. So Paul, I want to welcome you to the line, and our guest Moses is here for tonight. You can go and ask questions so we can have a round.
Paul asking me, eh?
Huh?
Now Paul say I'm a John. Okay.
Paul Akimi.
Say,
Oh,
say the
Paul,
man
boy,
ask you, the
you said
man
you
ask
just
you through text, and you
you said
answer the man the proper way.
want
The
to
man
show
can't
face.
show his face now.
He said, "What's your face?" Paul, go and
Yeah.
welcome our guest, and we got only after they go around the table, then we'll give you a final comment to it. You give it a final comment so we can let our guest go.
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Moses. Welcome to the bottom line discussion. Based on my busy schedule, I was running late, but listening to the conversation, quite interesting. I like your storytelling, which is good. And I want to ask you two questions quickly. Are you the owner of Intel Sports?
I'm the co-owner of Intel Sports with two.
Oh,
Oh,
the
okay.
co-owner of Intel Sports. Well, I follow Intel Sports. That's what I watch my local games from when it's on. So it's good that you're doing
So
something
he's
good.
already making money, so he doesn't want to.
I see why he does not want to join the
Money.
bottom line.
The media man space in Liberia is
He's already
full.
making money. He doesn't want to join you guys. So the other worry about he's making money already. Intel Sports is being watched. He had a lot of hates. I think about 10,000
Yeah.
followers already.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
mostly I heard you talking about a BBC journalist, Steven Starker, and the guy who many years ago carried out this hard talk.
Yeah.
We don't have that in Liberia, and you into journal. Once a journalist will always be a journalist. Is that something that you could be looking at into that direction? Be that Steven Starker in
Yeah,
Liberia?
Mara Stevie Sacco.
I won't rest.
I think you are marrying a lot. People marry him. You can bring the same Stevie Sacco in Liberia, is it?
I mean, it's something we can look out to.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well, guys, let's take a round.
That's why Jamal, that's why I was asking whether he could join the bottom line to be that Steven Starker on the show. Then he continue with
I will consider. I will do consultation and consider.
No,
Okay.
what we'll do, we'll call him to be bring him on as a consultant. So Moses doesn't want to work for anybody anymore. He won't be on the consulting level. All right, guys. We want to take a round. Your final comment. Paul, is that a question you want to ask our guest? Is that it?
Yeah, that's my question. I want to ask the guest, but I've been following the conversation. Quite interesting. I like the storytelling, and I hope he appears here on the bottom line.
Yeah,
we can have one of his. I don't know if he met Linford or whoever Linford, who also came from the same background, so we can have that
ELBC,
on the program. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He is ELBC trained. Probably will know he has his footprint to our ELBC as well. Anyway, Linford
Gue. Linford Argon Gue.
He will come and talk much. I'm saying next time we meet him. He spent 30 years before behind the microphone, so you may know him. 30 years behind the microphone. He was from the old generation. He's not a millennial guy. He's from the old generation. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Let's have a round of last comment. Then we'll give our guest the final round to make his parting comment. Mr. Dole?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Honorable Moses Collin, glad to see you and happy to be here tonight to talk with you. I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. I guess you will be able to see.
A security question?
No, yes.
I'm not talking you. I'm not.
A security man. So that's why you ask me security question.
But I'm just based on your experience and your neutrality in our Liberian journalism. That's the reason why I'm giving this question to you. You being there, and your first statement, your first pronunciation to all tonight, you did make it clear to all that there's no much threat to Liberian journalists from the government. There's a lot of the security. There's no major security threat compared to the other countries and things. So that simply tells me that the journalists are free to say things how they see it without fear or favor. So I would like to ask you, this is my last question for tonight. From the time that this past government and the present government being existing in our country, how they been behaving to attract the international investor into our country? How do you see it?
You want me to add the information minister now?
No. But you are that one. I'm saying you are a neutral.
Yeah. So
you
the
will
first
say if based how you see it, your opinion.
So I think President Bouaka got different ambassadors in terms of luring diaspora investors or whatever. I think we've had 2 different diaspora meetings. We got something scheduled in Europe, right?
February, yeah.
Yeah, in February. So I mean, they've been arranging different diaspora meetings, different investment conferences. Like bro, I've been to the spring meetings. Like bro, I've been to African Development Bank meetings. They have the YEIB, the Youth Entrepreneurship Bank, coming to Liberia. I mean, it was launched here when Adesina was in Liberia. I mean, not the spokesperson for the government, but I think there have been some austerity measures taken in terms of trying to welcome investors to the country. There have been some different people from China, from Japan, from the UK coming to Liberia with some investment opportunities, with meetings. We know about the long haul of HPX in ArcelorMittal, Liberia. Mittal supposed to sign a new MDA. I learned that there's around $200 million signature bonuses. We also have the Total Energy, as well as different petroleum exploration companies that were lured some of the oil blocks in the country. So I think in terms of trying to stimulate investment is something that the government is doing. I see now that even the National Investment Commission has a new website trying to, you see the National Tourism Authority was passed and now it's functional. There's a head name at the president. You know, all of those things kind of try to create a bit of different image in terms of attracting investment to the country. But I hope it's not just about the meetings. Meetings should come with the tangibles. That is always my plea, because when the tangibles are on hand, when they're physically in country like that, the stress also drops from the government, because government, Liberia is one of the countries in the world the government is the highest employer. Only because we lack industries, we lack investment. And the reason why the job hunting in the country is so high, the NGO sector was highly impacted by the USAID drawdown. Now the United Nations also is really on a massive low scale for this staff. So America has been one of the highest contributor to the UN. So this is a difficult thing to say. We hope that some of these investment conferences, some of these meetings the president go for can be able to yield the kind of results we want to bring more jobs for the population. I mean, maybe even me here, I can decide. I say no, really, I got to change my profession. I see 2, 3, 4, 5 companies. I can change profession to be maybe some kind of a manager and so forth, somewhere beyond communication.
That's good. Tommy, Guy, your comment, your question, the last question for our guests.
I will just make few comments to Mr. Garzeawu. I'm exhausted. He has spoken a lot and he has made several salient points. And the storytelling is more interesting for me, and for our audience as well. So not to bore him, so that he can contemplate on partnering with the bottom line, I will just make few comments. As a young man, I would really, really love more of your storytelling. Like you emphasize, if you do not work as a professional journalist, you could do a TikTok podcast, a channel on YouTube, and tell the story about Liberia. Those are very good initiatives, and those are very good points you made. You can put them into reality. It's going to be unique about our country. We don't have much people. We don't have people screaming much good things about Liberia, on other media platforms. And yeah, I remember another comment from the comment section. I think it's from Mistress Choloplay, who said you should write a book. And yeah, that people can read and they can learn a lot of things. Maybe over 4 or 5 decades, people will remember that, oh yeah, there was a great journalist, an international one, who got these writings that we can reference today. Or maybe research. University research could reference some of your writing or your books. So those are my words of encouragement to you. I want to say big up to you and just keep pushing, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dad. Thanks for being the instrument to bringing in the brother onto the show. Paul, any comments or questions for our guests?
I have a comment and just a question. Uh, Moses, keep doing what you're doing. It's quite good to see young people that are doing extremely well. I will encourage you to, what God said, read a book. Like the other generation behind you, read your story. That will help it. Are you considering doing like online YouTube that podcast that you could teach young Liberians how to get into journalism to be a professional or not? That's a question. And I just going to the last question for you would be, I heard Mr. Dolly asking you about which tribe in Liberia, and I heard this conversation about Kelly have been taught in Zero at the university. But I just want to know from a journalistic point of view, between Bassa and Pele, which of those two languages is easier to speak?
I think you may be having some technical issues, case it may be frozen. If it's just general, was it? Did you get it?
What
Did you get
person
the
want me
question?
to answer? What person want me? So it comes with the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. The tourism agency can also, but I mean, there's supposed to be a national survey conducted to see which of these vernacular we can. At the moment, I mean, the last one predated Pele being the largest, right? And Pele is being taught in schools. Are we going to also make another study to know which one is more preferable for all of us to be able to learn in school to communicate with? I mean, even if I'm Pele or I'm Bassa or I'm Loma, I can be able to communicate with you in our national vernacular, but we got 16. Yeah, so I mean, it's a difficult thing, eh? So for me, I can't. So like you were saying about YouTube, China, I mean, I've been running this for quite a while now, and it's something that where I'm just trying to get. So if I just open, I have this is my YouTube channel. See here?
Okay.
So I got dozens of stories here. I got dozens of stories on this channel. But now, just because I was working for the BBC, I had to slow down. I got around 477 subscribers. At the moment, I got around 37 videos that I did. So it means that I can get most, and it's something that yeah. I mean, storytelling is something I love doing, and I can pick up my little tidbit. Like I was in Lofa a few days ago. I think Tommy's saw it. I was just exploring. Like, okay, I'm in Kola home. This is so. I mean, I love storytelling. I believe that storytelling empowers community, empower people, and everyone will feel very empowered when their voices are up. The media is the main channel for the voiceless. We can give them that power. Who am I? Yeah.
Right, Moses.
Yeah.
Cody,
For the writing, for the issue of writing, I mean, you can't let a cat out of the bag. It's something that I'm not one, not two, but it's probably something that I want to get myself into. When you hear say, yeah, I want to rest or something, I want to place some key emphasis. I'm hoping that before next year, early next year, I should have my first publication. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And
If you just join us, we'll be having a conversation with Moses Garzeawu, former BBC correspondent for Liberia. He was with having a conversation for almost an hour now. Tell us media, politics, and government as well, and his relation with a love for the storytelling. And my colleague being Paul the Lord Chiloply, Augustus God to me, Mr. Morris Dollar. My name is Jamal Kamara, and I want to thank our brother for coming. I want to leave him with a last comment. And we don't want to bother our guests with too many questions, so probably we're going to have you next time. Moses, what do you got to tell us? Your parting comments, sir.
well, first I want to say thank you to you guys for taking me off my corner, especially for Tommy, because I love to be in the background, because journalism it's not about me, it's about the people, it's about the stories I tell. I mean, if you see, even on CNN, you see people that dress very simple and casual because nothing should take away from your personality, should not take away the content of the news. That is a power that people have. So I want to say thank you to all of you. I hope that we can meet again. We can meet, and I will look out for all of the recommendation, all of the requests. I will look through them, and I know through the page you're looking, I'm not talking nothing. I will look through that. Then we can. But I mean, it was healthy, friendly, and I do appreciate all of you, and I thank you for what you do. And yeah.
Thank you very much. I want to say thank you for those who joined us, wherever they joined us from.
Thank you, man.
Our conversations. I want to say a big thank you to our guests. I want to wish you a pleasant week. And my name is Jamal Kamara. Tonight with me was Moses Garzeawu. Moses Garzeawu, former BBC correspondent, was our guest to discuss his life with BBC, journalism as well, and politics in Liberia. Tonight with me, my colleagues were Morris Yankuba Dole, Augustus Garzeawu, based in Germany, and our good friend of King Charles, Paul the Lord who joins us lately. Guys, I want to say a big thank you and have a lovely week. And I'll catch you on Friday. Thanks and have a pleasant week. Bye-bye.